India as early as the early 1600s. And by the 1850s, the late 1850s, they controlled the country. So they developed what they call autocratic paternalism.
What's that?
That's a fancy phrase for basically ruling with an iron fist.
Oh,
and they started to pit Hindus and Muslims against each other. And that's what led to the forces in India, the Muslims and the Hindus, to try to rise up against the British.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How's it going today?
If you don't already know, my name is Kathy.
My name's Tom.
And we are the Marvelous Donohues.
MarvelHeads, welcome. I want to hide on that one. Hi, welcome.
Welcome indeed.
And what's Saturday if you can't have a little fun?
It's Saturday, people. Woo! And guess what, you guys? If you're new here, welcome indeed. We just introduced ourselves as the crazy, marvelous Donohues.
That's right. This is your first time. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. And we hope that you like and subscribe and tell your friends, family, and countrymen.
Countrymen. And if it's your first time here, you guys, we enjoy having fun and laughing. And my new word is shenanigans. I can't make my little mouth go up because I'm having some...
So you got a tooth problem, everybody.
I'm having some dental work done. But
I'll do it for you. Shenanigans.
Thank you, Tom.
I got a tooth problem now. We're walking wounded over here, everybody.
But we just gonna get this show out.
We are.
We are a Marvel review show, and we like to review everything Marvel, and sometimes, occasionally, a Marvel movie. And we do mostly Marvel TV series, and that is about it. Besides,
it's fit for Disney Plus.
Yeah,
it's fit for us.
That's right. That's right. But Disney Plus has gotten a little more adult, so I noticed
some
that.
may not be so
fit. Well, you know what? We're just gonna do what we like and what we can,
that's right. And
then we upload them. And plus, also, this show is 2 shows. Right. We have the Disney Plus review show, and then on Saturdays, twice a month, we have our Marvelous Donahue live show, which we're going to be talking about retirement.
That's right.
And becoming an expat and all those wonderful things about our life. And we're due to start that really soon, so watch out for that.
Yeah.
Those will be specifically titled The Donohues Marvelous Life, so we don't confuse people. So every other Saturday, we're going to upload videos called The Donohues Marvelous Life, and those videos will talk about our life, our journey to retirement and expathood.
Right. And by the time you see this video you're watching right now, the Marvelous Donohue Life or the Donohues Marvelous Life video will have premiered.
Right, right. And we hope you join us there. So please, if you subscribe because you want to know more about the Donohues Marvelous Life.
And we do have a Marvelous Life, by the way.
Just hang on because those videos are coming. It's just, you know, a lot of stuff has been going on in the Marvelous Donohue Lives behind the scenes, like this little toothache, which I'm going to get fixed soon. And you guys, we just want you to enjoy this video. And today we're going towards the end. So today we're going to be doing episode 5. And there's a lot to be done in this episode and said. But you guys, Tom's going to give us a little bit of history lesson about what's going on in this episode during that time. I'm going to step out and I'm going to let him do it, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, we're back. So Kathy has stepped away for a few minutes, so I'm going to talk about a little bit about the historical perspective of India and the future state Pakistan. So I think a lot of people have heard the phrase that the sun never sets on the British Empire. That was an old phrase or saying back in the day. So to give you just a little bit of historical context on this, the British came to India or what was known as India, back in the early 1600s. So they started to work with, had a company called the East India Trading Company, and they started to trade in India and parts thereabouts in the Southwest Asia, South Asia area. From the 1850s, all the way up to the 1850s, they hadn't really been in charge or in control of India in that way, but in the late 1850s, they took over the country. So they took over the country and they enacted a rule of what they call autocratic paternalism. And autocratic paternalism is just a fancy term for just ruling with an iron fist, just ruling in a bad manner. And their strategy, which we go into the episode a little bit today, is pitting the Hindus against the Muslims. So from the 1850s to the late 1940s, in the early 1940s, what happened was they were very successful in this, and it started to divide the country. And you had a few leaders that arose from this movement. One was Mahatma Gandhi, which I'm sure everybody's heard of, and the other one was Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who actually became known as the father of Pakistan. So those two figures arose to fight the British, and what eventually happened, as we see in this episode, is they partitioned, the British partitioned the country. They basically divided the country from India, and in the Northwest Province, they call it, which is up here, we'll just say, it was where they decided to allow Pakistan and Muslims to relocate and resettle. So what you're seeing in this episode, and the reason we're going through this is because a lot of times we as Americans don't learn a lot of different historical perspectives. I think it's very important to know because history should be known and should be revealed so that we hope history does not repeat itself in a bad way. So that's a little bit of a kind of historical update. And now back to our program.
Oh boy, thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and you guys, it is important for us to know other cultures, other countries' history and geography, just where they're located. At one time, I think they said that Americans are last in geography and cultural competence in history. So thank you, Tom, for letting us talk about that. So now let's jump into the episode. We find Kamala has traveled back in time, and she finds herself at the train station.
Right. If you remember one of the last episodes, they had that vision of the train. Mm-hmm. And Kamala had that, and her grandma had that. Mm-hmm. And now we find that she is teleported or mm-hmm. vortexed, if you will, back to 1947. Mm-hmm. And what we talked about in our last piece about mm-hmm. the partition, people trying to escape, Muslims mm-hmm. trying to escape India and go to Pakistan.
Right.
So the great-grandmother, we find some things. I'm looking at my notes, so I look down. I'm mm-hmm. looking at my notes. Is a great-grandmother's a jinn, clandestine.
We talked about that last week, so we know.
Yeah, Cameron's mom, of course, is a jinn, a clandestine. So they're all jinn clandestines, and they're all trying to do basically one thing, is to get home. And Aisha, we find Aisha is the great-grandmother, and her husband Hassan, and the little girl, who of course is Kamala's mom, Nani, is heading to the train station to get out of. There's some more things in there. I'm just getting hit the high notes of some of the episode. This to me was I really liked this episode. It for me was a very emotional episode. It was. I actually, to be honest, I actually cried a little bit because it was very, very emotional. And Aisha was being pursued by Cameron's mom, and hey, I want that bangle, I want to get out of here.
Right. It's like I told you guys before, she is evil. She's just about getting back to where she came from. Right. We don't know why they were exiled.
We don't.
You know, so that's something to think about.
Right.
So, you know, before that Aisha and her husband and little Nani got on the train, she came to her at night saying, listen, she was pretending to be all sweet, but she was like, I'm going to give you 24 hours. I see you got this little happy family here. You know, we're going to get out of here. You're forgetting why we did all this.
Yeah.
You know.
Because she was in love. She was in love with Hassan. She loved her daughter.
Yeah.
And she wanted, to be honest, she wanted to stay
right
in this new life they were trying to make in Pakistan. So, you know. So, you know, the one poem line, "What you seek is seeking you," came out in this episode. And they, again, we talked about him to the train station, and who showed us up? Cameron's mom. Hey, I want that bangle. I want to get out of here. And what happens?
She stabs her. She stabs her.
Yeah.
She says, I'm going to get this bangle, and I'm going to kill and go through you and your family to do it. And she didn't realize that she didn't have the bangle. She told her that she it didn't have it.
Yeah. And the little turned out the little daughter had it.
Nani had it. And that's how Kamala got the bracelet. And it was very moving because she was like, Nani was crying and screaming. She had gotten separated because you know the story that Nani tells, that I was separated from her papa, and she was crying out for him, and there was a bunch of stars that led me back to him.
And the family didn't believe that.
Right.
It was like, oh, this is wives' tale.
Right.
This is not, didn't happen.
Right.
But we find it did happen.
It did happen.
It did happen.
And Kamala had a lot to do with that. The mom. Wait, you know what? Let me tell you guys. Here's a big spoiler for this one. Whoop, whoop. So if you have not seen it, go back and watch it. But we'll give you time. Okay, now here we go. That the mom, Aisha, was wishing because she knew she couldn't help her daughter. And she heard her screaming out to her, "Mama, mama," you know, like, help me, you know, "Mama, daddy," you know. And she was so upset because she was mortally wounded. So she decided, she was like, please, she had a picture in her hand, "What we seek is seeking you." She thought that by saying this and trying to use, even though she didn't have the bracelet, she had magic or power inside of her. And that's what the young man discovered. He said, listen, for Kamala, he said, your energy and your power isn't coming from the bracelet.
Right, it's coming from what's inside you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you remember our other videos, we talked about that. It's kind of akin to Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Click your heel 3 times and say, I want to go home.
Right.
And the power is inside you. You know, so she's lying, Aisha's lying mortally wounded and will die, of course. But calling her daughter, but she doesn't really call her daughter, does she? Actually calls the one with the bangle, but she didn't know that at the time.
She didn't know that. The one with the bangle turned out to be
Kamala.
Kamala. And she was coming. She was like, you brought me here. She was like, go save Nani, you know. And it was just so sad. And she did. And do you know how Kamala makes those little stars?
I'm kind of almost welling up thinking about that. It was a very moving episode.
It was, and she produced those stars for Nani, and Nani was able to jump on the stars and go back to her dad. And during that episode too, that incident rather, we saw Nani use her magical powers to hold on to the stars. As they floated away, she raised her hand and she held on to them. And we were like, oh yeah, that clandestine blood runs through the entire family. You know, and that's how Kamala has it. And I think the bracelet just enhances those powers, but the powers are already there. You know, they will appear. And
I think this goes into the idea of reconciliation. It reconciled generations in this family. The grandmother, the great-grandmother, of course, had all these rumors and gossip about the fact that she would left the family and she didn't. And it put to rest a lot of this, and it brought, it started to bring peace to the family, you know, to great-grandmother to grandmother, and, you know, mother to daughter. And
yeah, after she got back and they realized what was going on, and that was a big part. Now, in this episode, the grandmother and Kamala's mother finds out exactly what's going on, and she realizes it was a lot. She realized that Kamala is the midnight girl, and that Nightlights.
Midnight Girl sounds good. What do you think of that name, Midnight Girl?
She finds out that she is Nightlight, and that she has these powers because she shows up after something major happens. And you know what? Here's a big spoiler. But like I said, it's been off, and if you haven't seen it, stop this video. Please go back.
You definitely want to go back and watch this series, because it's more than, I'm just going to say, as we started episode 1, I think, you know, a lot of folks have reviewed this series, and a lot of it was like, oh, this is just a kid's show. This is more than a kid's show, and this is the way I see it. I think you see it the same way. This is more than a kid's show. And it's a show about love and reconciliation and cultural divide. And, you know, for us, because you know this station, we're into cultural awareness. So I think there was a lot to that too. Then
definitely learning the history of what happened. And I would say, like Tom says, Marvel did an excellent job at explaining the history and what was going on and how it helped to shape people's lives and families, and not always in a rosy kind of
life's not
best ending type of way. But you know what? I will save that. I won't spoil that, because I think that what happens in this episode is very important at the end, and we'll talk about it the next episode. I realize, you guys, that this episode is shorter than our usual ones, but we want you to be able to really watch this episode and dive in. And please, you guys, like and subscribe, because we love doing this episodes, and we appreciate every one of you. We are now up to 71 subscribers, and I know that everyone has their different reasons for subscribing to the show. Like we said before, some of you just want to watch the reviews, and others want to see the Marvelous Donahue life or the Donahue's Marvelous life. So we're going to keep doing that, but we want you to know that just like everyone else, there is, you know, two sides, you know, and we're keeping both channels in this one station, because we're different people. As you look, I know we look like we just came off vacation. These are our little Hawaiian outfits, or our little Mexico outfits. But we love you guys. Thank you for following us. Continue. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Like and subscribe. And I think that's all we have for now.
That is. And like she said, thank you. And keep watching.
That's right. If you don't already know, my name's Kathy.
My name's Tom.
And we're the Marvelous Donohues. And we will see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.